Coach.
Well, obviously a good win for the Tigers today. Anytime you give the ball to Nola, you feel confident about your chances. I thought he struggled through that first inning. Again, much like Poche yesterday, limited the damage, and it could have been worse. We could have got ourselves a pretty big hole there, but he pitched out of it like he typically does. And then we had a great two-out, two-run rally with Bregman getting the double to get us going with 2 outs, and then Chinea came through with a clutch hit, and then Tyler Moore came through with a clutch hit right after that. Was that the same inning when McMullen got the clutch hit, and then Moore later on hit the home run, which was big for us. So gave us a little bit of a cushion. We were able to tack on a few more. I thought Aaron was outstanding as usual. He's such a leader and just simply one of the greats of all time, certainly at LSU and in my coaching career. And he showed why. He demonstrated today to everybody what makes him so special. Not just that he's got great stuff, great talent, but just he's got that something extra, that extra, in Louisiana we call it lagniappe, something a little extra. And he just got that it factor, and he just always seems to rise to the occasion when he needs to. So it was a good win for us and gives us a day off tomorrow, which we'll thoroughly enjoy, and gets us to the Final Four on Saturday, and we'll make our run at it.
We'll go ahead and open it for questions for the student athletes. If you raise a hand, we'll get a mic to you. Let's start here in the second row.
Tyler, you had that error in the first inning, then get out of the ballpark. Were you thinking about that error at all when you were going up to the plate, or is that just kind of the way it played out?
No, I wasn't really thinking about the error, but I think it just kind of was in the back of my head, so I wasn't necessarily thinking about it. But I definitely went up to the plate. Not necessarily trying to make up for it, but definitely trying to get something going, and just trying to get some runs across, and it happened to be a home run. So just trying to stay aggressive at the plate and just keeping my same approach.
Is that the hardest
Let us get a mic to you.
Was that the hardest you've ever hit a ball? I think it actually cleared the park itself.
I've hit a few balls hard. It's definitely up there. It's definitely up there.
Second row, right behind you.
Aaron, who was that in the first inning out there for the first couple of batters? You looked a little bit out of sorts, and then AD came out. You're not used to seeing AD in the first inning very much. What did he say, and what did you do to kind of get things going in the right direction?
Yeah, like you said, I'm not used to him coming out in the first inning. But, I got myself into a jam. I got behind in counts, and they were finding holes. And, after that, we got that run on offensively, and I regrouped myself and I put up a couple zeros.
Other questions for LSU student athletes? Let's come here in the front row, right behind you, Scott.
Tyler, most of the first 6 strikeouts maybe were looking. Just catching him, what makes people have to look? Why they strike out looking so often?
I think Aaron has 3 pitches that he can throw for strikes, and so not just for strikes, but he can spot up with all 3. And so as a hitter, that kind of that he has that, and so all of us working with AD and especially Aaron working with AD, calling pitches, and the hitters are always off balance and don't really know what's coming. And so when the fingers go down, Aaron's going to throw that pitch with conviction, and he's going to execute it most of the time. And so that's what he did. He just executed pitches and kept hitters off balance, and they really didn't know what was coming.
You think one day you'll be telling people, yeah, I used to catch Aaron Nola when I was in college?
Most definitely. When he leaves, I'm going to miss it for sure. But, he's a special pitcher and a special guy.
Mark, try to take us through you stealing home on a pop fly 20 feet away.
Well, I knew the pop was, in foul territory right there, and went back to the bag just to, tag. And Coach Will Davis did a good job, of me not looking at the ball and looking at the plate, and he was just like, there's nobody covering home. And I looked up and saw nobody was there, and then the closest person was the catcher on the warning track, and I was like, all right, I can't let this guy beat me home, and it worked out for us.
Second row on the right, go ahead.
Tyler, have you ever had a better stretch that you can recall in your career, just at the plate?
I don't know if I can recall a better stretch, but nothing's really changed. I've been having the same approach, and I'm just going out and hitting, just swinging the bat, and so I'm the same player I was 3 months ago, and so that's just pretty much what it is. I'm just seeing the ball well and just swinging the bat.
This will be let's go to the front row here. This will be our last question for the student athletes.
This is for Tyler and Mark. You guys, I think, scored all your runs with 2 outs. That's what Dave Van Horn said, so I'm going to go on that. Just talk about how clutch you guys were tonight.
Mark, you want to start?
Yeah. Well, we got runners in scoring position, and most of the time I was with 2 outs, and our guys all of our players just competed at the plate, and it just gave Aaron a cushion, and when Aaron's pitching, you don't need many, and we were fortunate to come up in those situations and drive the runners home.
Tyler?
I think that's one of the things we take pride in most is driving in runners with 2 outs and being clutch at the plate. And so, we take that mentality into every game. And, today it just happened to be almost every clutch hit was with 2 outs. And so, that's what we take pride in here at LSU.
Thank you, guys. You guys are welcome to head back to your dressing room. We'll keep Coach just for a few more minutes. Thanks, fellas.
I guess I had it all backwards. Moore's home run tied the game, didn't it? And then we had the 2-run rally. It seemed like a long time ago. Sorry about that.
So I see a few hands up, so we'll go ahead and get started. Let's start on the
It's an Aaron
right
Fitz sighting.
front.
Hey, Aaron.
Paul, I guess, looking at Aaron's first inning, what were you kind of seeing from him in the first and then after that? And also, did it kind of give you shades of that same Houston game last year a little bit?
Yeah, I didn't think about it, Kendall, but it did a little bit. Their leadoff hitter did a good job. He got a base hit up the middle off of him and put us in a hole right away. And, in typical Dave Van Horn fashion, he was very aggressive. He hit and ran right away. We were very fortunate because I had the shortstop cover and that the ball was chopped and Alex was able to react and still be able to make the play. And I thought, he was making some decent pitches. He wasn't getting some calls. He fell behind on some counts, that type of thing. And, they got a few hits. And, we were very fortunate initially that the runner didn't score on the ball that Anderson hit. He hit it too hard. And then, we missed the cutoff man, which was bad fundamentals. And their runner takes off, and Tyler reacted well and threw the ball to second. But unfortunately, it was in the dirt, and we didn't make the pick at second base, and, it just kind of looked bad. But Kendall, this is what I've said about Aaron. I've run out of things really to talk about with this kid. Every time he pitches, it seems like he outdoes himself. But this, to me, shows the true greatness of Nola. He's had plenty of games where he's just dominated from start to finish, struck out 10 to 13, no walks, 3 hits. But when he gets in jams, he just has that innate ability to raise his game to another level. And that's really what he did there in the first inning. He essentially kept his team in the game. And then he started to dominate. I thought after that, he found a good rhythm and he made big pitches. And I thought he started to get a little bit tired there in the 8th inning. And I was going to hook him after the 8th. I was hoping I could hook him at about 100 pitches and after he cruised through the 8th inning. But unfortunately, things started to unravel a little bit. And his pitch count got up to 110. I hate taking him out with the bases loaded, but Fury and Pearson came in, did a nice job for us, getting us out of it. So, again, Aaron, some days he just absolutely dominates games. Other days he shows his greatness by pitching out of jams. Guy's just phenomenal.
In the back, right in the middle. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, can you talk about putting Chris Cheney in the game to do a job and him doing exactly what you want him to do?
Well, I like to define a role for everybody on our team, Jacques. I want everybody to feel like they're contributing, and we've made Moore into kind of Nola's personal catcher, and then he's even extended beyond that a little bit, and Savic has kind of taken over as the other guy. But Cheney is a good ball player. I mean, he's a good catcher. He hits good, but he certainly hits lefties better than righties. And I've done this about 2 or 3 games now in a row where I kind of sensed that even though the other team was starting a left-hander, that we'd get to him early and knock him out. And I thought, well, why not try to get a couple of at-bats out of him right away? And certainly came through with a big clutch hit there for us with the RBI single to give us the lead. You all were probably figuring, what's this crazy coach doing, pinch running for him, in the 3rd inning. But I knew they didn't have any other lefties in the bullpen. They had the kid warming up. I figured that O'Shea wasn't going to be in the game much longer by the time that the lineup turned over. So let's put some speed out there, and it ended up coming into play when the ball went off of Anderson's glove that McMullen hit, and Fraley was able to score. I don't think Chinea would have been able to. So, it's just a way of defining roles for everybody on the team, and Chris Chinea came through with a big hit, and it shouldn't be lost in the story of this game. That was a huge hit to give us the one-run lead.
Front row, Scott.
Paul, I know you said a few times that he's the best pitcher you've had. Do you remember seeing him for the first time at Catholic or a Legion game or something like that?
Yeah.
And what your impressions were of him?
First time I saw him, I thought he was special. He looks like when he throws the ball, he's handing it to the catcher wherever the catcher puts his glove. I mean, from the side, it looks like the umpire's missing every call when he calls it a ball, because he always hits the glove. But what we don't know is exactly where the catcher's setting up. He's setting up off the plate or whatever. But everything is right there, and his command is just extraordinary. And I remember seeing that the first time I saw him pitch at Catholic High School. And he wasn't throwing 94 then. He was, upper 80s, but he had a loose delivery, and he was athletic, real skinny, wiry body. But you could dream that if this kid put on 20 pounds that the velo would pick up. He already had the command. He had a pretty good changeup in high school, not such a good breaking ball. I think Alan Dunn's done wonders with him in terms of developing that breaking ball. And he kind of lost his changeup for a little while, and it's not really as good as it was in his earlier years, but I think it'll come back to him. And once it does, you're talking about a 3-pitch guy that's going to be able to be very successful in the major leagues.
We'll take one or two more. Let's take one here, and then we'll come back to you in second row. Go ahead.
Asked Laird about his play. What were you thinking in the dugout, and how did it go down from your vantage point?
Well, I was real confident Jake Fraley was going to do something good. I didn't think he'd hit the shortest sacrifice fly in the history of the game. All we really were hoping for was a ground ball in the middle of the infield to get that run home, because any run you can get with Nola pitching to extend the lead is huge. And he popped up there, and their player made a really nice catch over there, leaning into the dugout. And Javi Sanchez was standing next to me, and he grabbed me by the arm right away, and he said, "There's nobody covering home plate." And he started screaming. Will Davis says that he saw it first, but I don't know. The two of them, we'll let them argue about it. But Mark reacted quickly, and I knew with his speed there was no way that catcher was going to beat him to home plate.